Have you ever watched a woman's interest in you slowly fade, leaving you wondering what went wrong? Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, being kind, attentive, available? Yet somehow she began seeing you as less of a man. This is one of the most painful experiences a man can endure, not just because of the rejection, but because of what it reveals about human nature. Women do not lose interest randomly. Their attraction doesn't simply vanish overnight. It fades because something fundamental has shifted in how they perceive you. Here's the hard truth. Women cannot respect weakness in a man. Not because they are cruel, but because they are wired by nature to seek strength. And before you misunderstand, strength isn't just about physical power. It's about the depth of your presence, the steadiness of your mindset, and the decisiveness of your actions. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, understood this well. They believed that a man should be unshakable, like an immovable rock in the midst of a storm. A man who allows the winds of emotion, doubt, or insecurity to control him is not a man in command of his destiny. He is a leaf, tossed and broken by forces greater than himself. Yet in today's world, too many men unknowingly give away their power. They surrender their strength in small, imperceptible ways, believing they are doing the right thing, only to watch as the woman they desire slowly loses respect, attraction, and eventually interest. Today I will expose the 4 fatal mistakes that make a woman see you as weak. 4 subtle yet destructive behaviors that kill attraction, erode respect, and diminish your presence as a man. If you want to be seen as strong, if you want to be the kind of man whose presence commands attention and admiration, then listen carefully, because what I am about to share with you could change everything. Let's begin. 1. Being too emotionally dependent. Seneca once said, "A wise man is content with himself and does not depend on the opinion of others." These are not just words, they are a way of life, a dividing line between men who command respect and those who lose themselves in the pursuit of validation. One of the most common yet destructive mistakes a man can make in a relationship is becoming too emotionally dependent on a woman. At first, it seems innocent. He enjoys her company, wants to see her happy, and naturally begins prioritizing her in his life. But slowly, this devotion morphs into something dangerous. He stops making decisions without considering how she will react. He craves her approval more than his own. Her happiness becomes his responsibility. Her moods dictate his emotions. What began as love becomes an invisible prison where his sense of self-worth is locked inside her acceptance. A man like this might believe he is being the perfect partner, the devoted lover, the man who proves his love through unwavering attention. But what he does not realize is that he is unknowingly repelling her. A woman does not lose attraction because a man loves her too much. She loses attraction when she senses that his love has cost him his independence. The nature of attraction: strength over submission. Women do not consciously seek to break a man's spirit, nor do they wake up one day and decide to withdraw their affection. But they are biologically wired to be drawn to strength, not just physical strength, but emotional resilience, confidence, and self-sufficiency. A man who makes a woman the center of his universe unknowingly places the burden of his happiness on her shoulders. And while at first she may appreciate his affection, over time that burden becomes exhausting. A woman does not want to be a man's purpose. She wants to walk alongside a man who already has a purpose. The men who commanded respect. Think of the greatest men in history: warriors, kings, emperors, and philosophers. Did Julius Caesar beg for love, or did he conquer the world? Did Napoleon Bonaparte crumble when Josephine betrayed him, or did he continue shaping history? Did Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, depend on a woman's affection to feel complete. These men had a mission beyond romance. Their value was not dictated by the presence or absence of a woman. They commanded respect because they were driven by something greater than fleeting emotions. Even in personal hardships, they remained unshaken. Marcus Aurelius, despite losing many loved ones, including his wife, never let grief weaken his duty to Rome. He did not crumble. He did not become lost in despair. He endured. That is strength. That is masculinity in its highest form. The modern man's mistake. Yet too many men today have forgotten this lesson. They confuse love with dependence. They believe that by making a woman their everything, they are proving their devotion. But devotion is not clinginess. Love is not neediness. A strong man loves deeply, but he does not hand over the key to his emotional stability. If a woman senses that a man cannot function without her, something shifts within her. Respect begins to fade, and when respect diminishes, attraction is not far behind. It is not because she is cruel, it is because on a deep, instinctual level, she cannot admire a man who has made her presence a requirement for his happiness. How to regain your strength. 1. Rediscover your mission. What are you building? What are you working toward? A man without purpose is a man who drifts. 2. Become emotionally independent. Your happiness should not rise and fall based on her moods. Control your emotions, and you control your life. 3. Maintain your own life. Have your own goals, hobbies, and passions. Never abandon them for a woman. See love as a part of life, not the whole. A woman should complement your journey, not become it. The moment you make her your sole purpose, you surrender your power. And when a man loses his power, he becomes forgettable. The truth is, women do not want to lead. They want to follow a man who is already leading. If you are strong, centered, and driven, she will naturally want to be part of your world. So stand firm, love deeply, but never at the cost of your independence. The man who commands respect is the man who can walk away if necessary, not because he doesn't care, but because he knows that his value does not come from a woman's approval. It comes from within. 2. Being too nice, the trap of pleasing. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." There is a dangerous misconception among men today, one that has led countless men into frustration, rejection, and quiet resentment. They believe that being nice is the key to winning a woman's heart, that if they always agree with her, never challenge her, and sacrifice their own desires to accommodate hers, she will reward them with love and devotion. But this is a lie. Women do not fall for men who bend over backwards to please them. They do not admire men who erase their own identity in the hope of gaining approval, and they certainly do not respect men who fear disagreement, avoid conflict, and silence their own needs just to maintain peace. A woman may smile at a nice guy. She may appreciate his efforts, but deep down something feels off. Something doesn't stir her soul. Because while kindness is good, a man without a backbone is forgettable. The distinction, kindness versus weakness. There is a profound difference between being kind and being weak. A kind man treats people with respect, but he never sacrifices his own self-respect in the process. A weak man believes that in order to be loved, he must be agreeable, accommodating, and endlessly available. A woman may say she wants a nice guy, but what she truly respects is a strong man with a kind heart, a man who treats her well, but is not afraid to set boundaries, say no, and demand respect in return. Why do nice guys finish last? Because they mistake pleasing for attraction. They believe that if they give more, do more, and sacrifice more, a woman will recognize their worth. But attraction does not work that way. A woman does not fall in love with a man because he is convenient. She does not respect a man because he always puts her first. In fact, when a man prioritizes her needs over his own at all costs, she begins to feel that something is wrong. It feels unnatural. It feels weak. Why? Because strength is the foundation of attraction. And a man who lives to please is a man who has abandoned his own strength. Look at the men who shaped history. They were not doormats. They did not beg for approval. They were not afraid to be disliked, to be challenged, to stand firm in their beliefs. Alexander the Great did not conquer the known world by trying to be liked. Theodore Roosevelt did not earn his legacy by avoiding conflict. Marcus Aurelius did not rule Rome with passivity. He ruled with wisdom and quiet strength. These men were not cruel. They were not tyrants. They were fair but firm, kind but strong, loving but unshakable. A true leader does not seek to be liked. He commands respect. The cost of being too nice. Men who fall into the nice guy trap often suffer in silence. They believe they are doing everything right, yet they face rejection. Women pull away, sensing his lack of strength. Resentment. He grows bitter, believing women only want bad boys. Confusion. He cannot understand why doing everything for her has not made her love him more. The problem is not that he is good-hearted. The problem is that he has abandoned his own power in an attempt to gain her approval. How to be kind, but not weak one. Have boundaries. Never allow disrespect, no matter how much you like her. 2. Stop seeking validation. Your worth is not determined by a woman's approval. 3. Be willing to say no. A man who cannot say no is a man without control. 4. Live by principles, not approval. Do what is right, not what is popular. 5. Embrace discomfort. Do not fear conflict. Growth comes from standing your ground. Be a good man, but a strong one. A woman does not want a perfectly agreeable man. She wants a real man, one who treats her well but refuses to compromise his strength. So, stop trying to be the perfect guy. Stop believing that being overly nice will win her over. Instead, be the man who stands firm. The man who is fair but fearless. The man who is loving but unbreakable. That is the man she will respect. That is the man she will never forget. 3. Lack of purpose. A man without a mission is a man without power. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." A man without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder, drifting, lost, directionless. He goes wherever the current takes him, with no clear destination, no fire in his soul, no hunger to achieve something greater than himself. And nothing kills a woman's respect faster than witnessing this lack of direction, because when a man has no purpose, he becomes hollow, a shadow of what he could be. And deep down, a woman knows that a man without a mission is a man without power. Purpose is power. Women are naturally drawn to men who are driven, men who wake up each day with a fire in their belly, a goal in their mind, and a determination to conquer their own limitations. These men don't need to be reminded to grind, to build, to grow, because purpose runs through their veins. When a woman meets a man like this, she feels something primal, a sense that he is going somewhere, that he is building something, that his presence in this world matters. But when she meets a man without a mission, she feels nothing, no excitement, no admiration, no respect, because a man without direction is not a man. He is a boy waiting for life to happen to him. The great men of history did not wait. They built, they led, they conquered. Think about the greatest men in history, the warriors, the kings, the leaders. Alexander the Great did not sit around hoping for greatness. He carved an empire into the world. Theodore Roosevelt did not wait for an easy life. He sought out challenges, rode into battle, and reshaped a nation. Winston Churchill did not cower in fear when war threatened. He stood, he led, he inspired. These men did not waste their days chasing meaningless pleasure or waiting for motivation. They acted. They built their legacy brick by brick, and the world remembers them because of it. But a man with no purpose? He disappears into obscurity. Why purpose commands respect. If you wake up every day without a goal, without a fire to improve, to grow, to dominate your field, why should anyone respect you? A woman does not want to be your purpose. She does not want to be the thing that gives your life meaning. She wants to join a man who already has a mission, a man who does not need her to feel complete because he is already whole. A man on a mission does not beg for validation. A man on a mission does not waste time chasing people who do not value him. A man on a mission does not ask for permission to be great. He chooses to be great. What happens when a man lacks purpose? 1. He becomes complacent. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and before he knows it, years have passed, and he is no closer to his potential. 2. He feels unfulfilled. Without a goal, without a mountain to climb, a man starts to feel empty, no matter how much pleasure or distraction he chases. 3. He loses respect from others and from himself. Women stop admiring him, other men stop taking him seriously. And worst of all, he stops taking himself seriously. Find your mission or be forgotten. If you do not have a purpose, find one. It does not have to be something world-changing. It does not need to impress anyone, but it must be something that fuels your soul. If you are lost, start somewhere. Train your body, master a skill, build a business. If you have been drifting, take control. Set a goal, commit to it, and see it through. If you feel weak, build strength, not just physical, but mental, emotional, and spiritual. Because the truth is simple. A man with a purpose is a man who commands respect. And a man without one? He fades into nothingness, forgotten, ignored, and invisible. 4th, letting your emotions control you. The Stoics believed that a true man controls his emotions instead of letting emotions control him. A man who is ruled by his emotions, who is quick to anger, easily offended, or constantly seeking sympathy, is a man who has lost control of himself. And a man who is not in control of himself cannot be trusted to lead, because a man who cannot master his emotions will always be a slave to them. A woman cannot respect a man who is emotionally weak. Women are not drawn to men who break down at every challenge. They do not admire men who let their emotions dictate their actions. They seek men who are steady, composed, and unshaken by life's storms. A woman will never respect a man who explodes in anger over small things, constantly complains about life's unfairness, falls apart the moment things get difficult, argues endlessly over petty disagreements, because deep down, a woman needs to see that you are a rock, not a storm. She wants to know that when life throws chaos in her direction, you remain unshaken, that she can lean on you in moments of uncertainty. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who mastered himself, even as the most powerful man in Rome, Marcus Aurelius never let his emotions dictate his actions. When enemies plotted against him, he remained composed. When Rome faced crises, he led with wisdom, not panic. When betrayal struck, he responded with reason, not vengeance. He understood that true strength is not found in reacting, but in restraining. Because any man can explode in anger, any man can crumble under pressure. Any man can give in to fear, but only a strong man can remain calm in the storm. The difference between strength and weakness. A weak man follows his emotions. He lets temporary feelings dictate his decisions. He reacts instead of responding. He is like a boat without an anchor, pushed in every direction by the waves of his feelings. A strong man leads his emotions. He feels anger but does not let it control him. He experiences pain but does not collapse under it. He understands that emotions are signals, not commands. And that is what makes him powerful. Master your emotions, or they will master you. The world respects men who are in control of themselves. A leader who can remain calm under pressure commands loyalty. A warrior who does not let fear consume him wins battles. A man who refuses to let temporary emotions dictate his actions earns the respect of women and other men alike. So when life challenges you, when emotions rise, when frustration tempts you to react, pause, think, breathe, lead. Because a man must lead his emotions, not follow them. That is the difference between power and weakness. Be the man she respects. If you want a woman to see you as strong, never make these 4 mistakes. 1. Do not be emotionally dependent. Love deeply, but never rely on her for your happiness. Your emotional stability must come from within, not from her validation. 2. Do not be too nice. Be kind, but never a people pleaser. A man who sacrifices his self-respect to please others will never command true admiration. 3. Do not lack purpose. A man without a mission is a man without power. Find your purpose, chase it relentlessly, and let no one distract you from your path. 4. Do not let emotions control you. Stay calm, stay focused, stay in control. A man who masters his emotions masters his destiny. Strength commands respect. The truth is simple. Women respect strong men, and strength is not about arrogance, wealth, or social status. It is about discipline, the ability to control your desires rather than be ruled by them. It is about purpose, the fire that drives you forward, with or without anyone's approval. It is about emotional mastery, the power to remain unshaken no matter what life throws at you. So, ask yourself, are you living as a strong man, or are you making these mistakes? Are you leading your life with purpose, or are you waiting for others to give you direction? Are you standing like a rock in the storm, or are you allowing yourself to be tossed around by emotions, circumstances, and external opinions? If this message resonated with you, share it with a man who needs to hear it. Because the world needs more strong men, men who build themselves, control themselves, and refuse to break under pressure. And remember, strength is built, not given. Be that man.